Hi, this is Charles Roberts. I'm the president of Your Castle Real Estate, and I wanted to talk for a couple of minutes about an article that came out in the Denver Post, and it caused a stir in our community, in our real estate community, and I just wanted to talk about it and address what I thought were some of the positives and negative aspects of the article. So what it said here, you'll see the article name, is Denver Northern Front Range Real Estate Party Ends in Late 2019, New Forecast Predicts. So let's start by talking about what they're saying. What they were telling us was they think that the market is going to continue to go up for the next couple of years and then will fall about 20% from 2019 to 2022. And I will tell you, in the real estate community, there was pillars and arrows and lots of people very upset about this. Here's how I look at it. Predicting real estate is very, very difficult. Everybody wants that that magic bullet, that insight into the market, and it's awfully hard. And what I will tell you is that the more professional the person you speak with and associate with, the less likely they're going to tell you things like this article tells you. The problem I have with the article is that it's really geared to sell newspapers. And look, I respect journalists. They've got to sell newspapers. But what they can't say is we have no idea what the real estate market is going because nobody would buy their newspapers. So what they have to do is they have to say things that I think are a little bit out of bounds. They go so far as to predict a particular block, the 4700 block of Argonne Street in Green Valley Ranch, Denver, is going to go down 21% in 2021. And really, professionals look at that and just sort of roll their eyes and say, look, it's misleading. Nothing is that specific. Nothing is that predictable. And I completely believe that. So what I do believe is that you can look at trends in the market. And we talk a lot about these trends if you come to our classes or go through our courses on our website. And we do talk about what we think the market is going to do. And basically, I would agree with them that the market is going to go up for at least the next few years. What I counsel you, though, is to not read an article and to base any investing decisions on whether you buy something or sell something or when you're going to buy or sell something on any single article from Zillow or any class you go to or anything in the Denver Post. That's just not a good idea, okay? Because you look at REITs, you look at big companies with really smart people. They don't do this. What they say is, maybe in 2023 the market will start to turn and we'll reevaluate it for a few years. That's what professionals understand and respect, that markets are very, very difficult to predict. Whereas the Denver Post comes up by referencing Scout Vision that looks at 200 variables. And sure, those variables, in the way they put them into their algorithm, does come down to these micro neighborhoods and does make predictions. But I can promise you that professionals, and I try to put myself in that position, do not actually buy or sell properties based upon understanding what a micro neighborhood is going to go through in 4 years. What we look at are bigger picture items to really try to understand the market in a way that isn't predicting a neighborhood or over-predicting, but giving us a general idea of what we want to do with real estate investing. So let me give you an example of this. This is a part of a class that we teach on our website, and teaching classes and books and all the stuff that you may be familiar with what we're doing. So I thought it would be relevant to talk about how we look at what the market is doing. So this is what I say. This right here is the debt to income, the average debt to income in Metro Denver. What this tells us is that during the 80s, the DTI, debt to income in terms of buying a property, was very, very high. It made it very difficult to buy a property, and it was therefore it was difficult, less affordable when this is high. What happened is you have this long period of time where you got a DTI of about 45%, which anybody who's ever bought a property sounds familiar because that's the level about which lenders will lend to you. And then what we saw during our downturn in our market is the debt to income, because prices plummeted, went way down. And it turns out this was a very affordable time right here to buy. And what you hear a lot in the media these days is actually true, is that in the last couple of years, 2015 and 16 is right about here, it has clearly become less affordable. But what you have to understand from a big picture perspective is that we're not here right now. We're right about here. So are homes less affordable than they were several years ago? Absolutely. But are we falling off a cliff anytime soon? I don't think so. My best prediction is that property prices are going to go up for the next 3, 4, 5 years, something like that. I recently just bought a bunch of properties. The numbers were good. Cap rates were good. Added them to my portfolio. I'll never sell them. I'm a long-term investing guy. And will the market turn someday? Yes. And when it will turn is probably when we get somewhere here where homes become truly unaffordable. But is that 2020, 21? Is it 2025? That's my point, is it's very, very hard to predict. And I would highly recommend that you don't try to think you know what year the market's going to turn. I promise you, I don't know what year the market's going to turn. And anybody who isn't selling you something will tell you the same thing, is that we don't know exactly when it's going to turn. But eventually, home prices will probably become unaffordable and the prices will start to come down again. Yeah, sure, that makes a lot of sense. So let's look at this slide and look at PITI trends over time, because there's a lot of insight you can get from this. PITI is the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance it takes to actually own a property, what your monthly payment is. And what we see here is, look at the dotted line. The dotted line is PITI, where we strip inflation out of it, or another way of looking at it is to say, with wage growth, this is the real dollars. This is actually what people would be paying. And what we learn here is that in the 80s, for example, PITIs were very, very high. Why? Because interest rates were so high. Interest rates came down, PITIs went down, but then the prices of homes went up in this period of time up to about 2007. Now, what we see here is that the prices plummeted, and therefore, much what you'd expect, the PITI went down, and in the last couple of years, the PITI went up. Why? Because prices came back up. So here's where I'm going with this. This is 2017. We believe that this right here, somewhere in the $2,200 or $2,300 range in real dollars, is roughly what the 45-year average is for people to pay their PITI. We believe that this will continue to rise and that eventually we'll get to a point where it might get a little bit high and have to come down again, and that's when the prices will go down. Will it happen someday? I honestly think it will. The point of this discussion, though, is that it is virtually, if not completely impossible to know when that will happen. I don't think it'll be in a week, and I don't think it'll be in 30 years. I think it's something between that. My best guess, 3 to 5 years. But can I tell you what block is going to go down by what amount or go up by what amount? No. If that Denver Post article had said the exact same thing, except that that block in Argonne Street was going to go up by a third, I would say, well, that's just equally ridiculous. So my counsel to you is dig a little bit deeper, learn more about the market, and then use this as just a basic part of your investing. But if you're a long-term investor looking to buy and hold property, do not worry about the weeds. Don't worry about the little details that are so hard to predict. The big thing is to understand yourself, control what you can control, understand the market to the best of your ability, and then to make decisions. My colleague Chris is actually going to talk to you a little bit now about other resources that you can dig deeper into to understand this even better.
Thanks, Charles. That was great information you shared there. So just want to share with you a new website, denverinvestmentrealestate.com. And this is a website that's really leveraging the great content and data that Charles and the rest of Your Castle Real Estate already is putting together. So 2 other resources you can check out. One will be the monthly market update webinars that we're going to be starting very, very soon. So just go to education, market updates. You'll get those details. And also check out the real estate investing courses, because a course that I recently actually saw Charles teach live, which was really great and pertinent to this article, is this course, Denver's Hot Rental Market, How Long Will It Last? So just click there and you're able to access the course in its entirety right there, and it's just in the video formats. So check it out.